And when it comes to ex-royal nonsense, that we talk about Harry and Meghan, but this time it's all Harry. Have talk about Meghan this day, so we have a couple mask slips. But this, thanks again, IHT_12. Make sure to follow her on X. I couldn't believe when I heard this. When you read a headline or you read a caption and you say, people must be making this up. And I read this. Archie asked me about landmines the other day. I just can't. How old is Archie again? Archie asked me about landmines. Landmines. I mean, I myself, I've always been a fan of everything, military and I don't know, of guns and tanks and aircraft and landmines. But I didn't learn about landmines like I would when I was until I was like in first or second grade, something like that. But what is this? And Harry actually said that, which is the worst part. I need to play this. And he said that with a rather straight face. With a rather straight face, I need to show you this.
As I said earlier, Archie was asking about landmines. I was talking about how some of these guys were blowing up.
He was asking about landmines. He was asking about how some of these guys were blown up. Harry, I'm going to tell you something, Harry. How old is 5, right? Thank you, Margie. Archie's 5. If your kid is 5 years old and he's asking about landmines and about quote unquote how these guys are blown up, which is a rather odd way to speak about victims of landmines, Harry, by the way, I think you already failed as a father. Like big time, in ways that you cannot comprehend. And what's more, you not only have failed as a father, but you are talking like that, like if it was a good thing, like boasting about that. Archie asked me about landmines and how this guy. No, we have to rewatch that. Rewatch that.
As I said earlier, Archie was asking about landmines. I was talking about how some of these guys were blowing up.
How these guys were blown up. I guess that he means the veterans, like the veterans, right? I don't know. Maybe I am biased. If I am biased, I can recognize that. But it is my hunch that he is rather dismissive about a horrific fact. A horrific fact. This is something that it's the way that he speaks about veterans, about these guys were blown up, it's rather heartless. It's rather heartless.
I think IEDs, improvised explosive devices, is probably a bit too much at this stage.
It's probably too much for this day. Yeah, it's actually too much. I mean, I don't think that any Peppa Pig episodes have anything to do with landmines and people being blown up. Maybe you can say, I don't know, you know that there are bad people that leave this kind of concealed bombs so they protect territories like that or scare people away with that. You can talk about landmines to a 5-year-old boy in that way. Bad people use this bombs under the ground to scare people away, so they don't go around these zones, and to that sometimes you are terrified of fireworks. Well, that's more or less how these people use, but not like blown up. That is certainly not an image that you want your kid, because the thing is, it is a good thing that you, I hope so, that you're not showing your kid an actual footage or not even an illustration of the actual how a landmine acts or works. I hope not. I certainly hope that you're not showing him that. But the problem is that as kids or as children, we have a very fertile imagination. So we can imagine all sorts of things that could be even worse of the actual fact, just because of your words as a parent, Harry's words. So that could be even worse because Archie could be imagining things that could give him nightmares. That is a fact. So it's better to just say, hey, but what are landmines? Why everybody talks about, grandma Lady Di and landmines. Oh, landmines are something that people, very bad people, used to scare people away. Used to remember that you are afraid of, I don't know, thunder. You're afraid of this. Well, they use landmines to make people afraid of certain things, and that they used to scare people away. And that's it. There are ways to speak to a child about that. And I don't know if Harry, there are only two scenarios for this. Harry is either too dumb and reckless to actually talk to Archie that way, or he's just, playing the Megan script. Megan gave him a script, and then he went with it. Yeah, tell people that Archie has asked you about landmines because, Diana was so about landmines. And what is that? What in the name of all that is sacred?
I found myself talking to him about mines at 5 years old.
I found myself talking about mines 5 years old.
And interestingly, it gave me a chance to talk about my mum, his grandma.
He gave me a chance to talk about my mom. He even, I don't know. I don't know what is worse, if the landmine or the fact that Harry tortures his kids, speaking about their grandma, as in I guess that maybe he tells the stories about Lady Di, and he grabs the strand of hair that he's got beside his bed, and begins to rub it, and then the memories begin to come. What the? No. This is way too much. This is way too much. Can we go back to the trans people claiming for their rights in the past section, please?
Which I didn't even really consider. So that became the outcome of the story for him, which is he then saw videos. He wanted to see videos and photographs of his grandma Diana out doing her thing for landmines all those years ago.
I don't know, and I don't know, and I told you the story that when I was 5 years old, I went to a party in preschool in costume as Adam West's Batman. So yeah, that was my childhood, like dressing up as the most campy Batman of them all. But Archie, Alligator Archie, is talking about landmines, and I want to see the pictures of grandma, and now let's play a game of chess. What the actual F is this? No. This is way too much. Let's finish this.
So it produced a very interesting conversation between me and him.
It produced a very interesting conversation between him and me. Well, to be fair, maybe considering Harry being thick as a brick, maybe, well, yeah, the conversation could be at the same level. I don't
Different to
know.
what I thought it was going to be.
Different than I thought it was gonna be. I'm going to leave this for another topic. This is what this is way too much. This is way too much. This is what? Remember to download my 100 body language tips in the description of this video, and you will be subscribed to my email list as well.